Hey everyone, I'm Melly and I have made my own ACNH themes tier list. I know there's a tier list that Froggy Crossing used or made, I'm not fully sure to be honest. I felt it a bit lacking in such personally, I just want to make a fun little project. This is not hate towards Froggy Crossing by the way, or anyone who has made such tier lists. I just want to showcase my small projects with my own preferences added. Let's take a look, shall we? All the themes used are those I felt the most being used as general themes. I was considering certain ones like based on specific games or other media, but that felt too vast as a theme, as it could be nearly anything. So only base themes you'd find an island potentially be described as. This also means no multi-theme themes? Honestly, I low-key think I may have overdone it with the themes, but I just thought it really add, and when a theme is also present in the game itself, I also counted it. I just thought these were the most prevalent ones. But if you think a really specific important theme was missing, let me know which theme you missed having here. Let's go over the rankings first. I love it, we'll do it over and over. These are the themes that you just can't get enough of. You wanna make yourself, you see it everywhere and you're always like, oh my god, yes. Very pretty, definitely want to try it. You just wanna try it, as it says. Or you're definitely thinking about trying it. Incredible, may do myself or not. This is of course for when you aren't sure yet if you're gonna do it or not. I like it, but I doubt I do it myself. This is for the themes that you really like, but you may not do them yourself on islands. And I'm sorry, but no, not for me personally. But I know we all aren't here for the rankings, we are here for the actual themes themselves and which ones I chose. We'll just go down the list. First, abandoned, overgrown. These are the islands that are just, weed fields everywhere, trash everywhere, tons of weeds, and so on. Basically just everything that looks like rusty, abandoned, and nature took them back over. I actually really enjoy those islands, I think they're really cool. Next, we got one of my personal favorites, because I'm a Christmas girly, I'm admitting it. Christmas core, which, as the name suggests, is just using all the Christmas items or Toy Day items and just decorating your island head to toe in the fun Christmas colors. It makes me happy. City core is also a pretty basic one that I think a lot of people definitely know about. City core is when you make your island look like a big city, using utility poles, fences, etc. One I really was missing in the previous tier list is Cloud Core, because I feel like Cloud Core is a really general theme for ACNH. I've seen a lot of people use it, so I was surprised it wasn't there, but I enjoy it. Clown Core. At first I wasn't sure to include Clown Core, but I feel like it's different enough, and I've seen enough of it to count it as a separate theme from Kid Core. So I thought, hey, let's use Clown Core as well. Cottage Core, of course, the classic, the OG of Animal Crossing themes, which, I can't really say much about it because I feel like everyone basically knows what Cottage Core is at this point. Creepy Core / Horror Core. Now these are the horror islands, aka Acre Village, which is more New Leaf, as you know, but people remade them, so I'm still gonna count them. These are the creepy horror islands, and yeah, I felt like they deserved their own little spot for people who actually make them. Another one I was surprised about was Dark Academia. I felt like it got a real rise in island themes. A lot of people were doing Dark Academia or like European themed islands that are kinda town core but really more suited for universities, etc. So I definitely want to include Dark Academia. Desert Core. Desert Core is pretty self-explanatory. It's when you make your island look like a desert, you put sand everywhere, you use pyramids, and so on. Elegant Core, which is of course the, elegant one. Symmetry is key, you make everything look like those historical drama series, I feel like. It's a very pretty theme. Definitely felt like it deserved its spot. Fairy Core. Fairy Core is also one of those themes that's like an OG, like Cottage Core. So of course it had to be included. It's just making everything whimsical and like little fairies and magical. And just kinda cutesy, I'd even say. Then we got Fall Core, which is just making your very mush themed, very You know, fall colors, orange, red, yellow, very cozy, pumpkins, really, really enjoyable. We got Farmcore, one of my personal favorites as a farming sim fan, where basically everything is centered around making, well, farms. Another one I was surprised to not find in the previous tier list is Foodcore, because Foodcore is also, I feel like, a really, really integral theme to Animal Crossing by now. There's tons of food items, there's the food furniture, there are food villagers. I was just confused why it wasn't there. Forest core, of course, the good old forest core, which is like more, I don't want to say dull, darker tones. Everything is covered in trees, which you would of course expect. Next we have goth core. This is a theme I haven't seen as much about, but I feel like it's still pretty prevalent. And I feel like a lot of people definitely enjoy goth core. It's just everything like black, purple, and so on. Now, grandma core is a theme I find is maybe not the right word, but I've seen it enough that I feel like I could include it with that word. Grandma core is kinda like cottage core, except that it's also more about the retro items. It's about making it cozy, how you would imagine going to your grandma, as the name suggests. There's also a bit of vintage involved, so it's basically just an even cozier version of cottagecore in my eyes, with even a bit of kidcore, but not really kidcore as we know it mixed in. And so I felt it justified to add grandma core. Then we got Halloween core, which personally I really, really enjoy, despite not being a huge Halloween fan myself. I just really love the aesthetics with the pumpkins and the colors, and it's a fun time. Another one I was really shocked to not find is, okay, looking at it, I don't know if it's Japan core or Japanese core. I put Japanese core, but it's basically all the Japanese items being used for either a city or a town or so on. And again, I was really shocked because I feel like a lot of people are really into Japanese core and using them on the islands, and I just felt like it belonged. Next, we got jungle core, just fossils, palm trees, bamboo trees, the giant plants, everything you can think of when going into a jungle. Kawaii core, which is everything pink and girly and, I don't know, glittery. I don't know really how to explain it, but you can basically see it. It's like pink, cutesy, girly, glittery, kawaii. Of course, another OG is Kid Core, which is pretty self-explanatory. If you looked into any ACNH themes, playground items, froggy chair, colorful, it's Kid Core. You go back to being a kid. Now this is one I haven't really seen a lot of necessarily themed islands about, but with all the Mario items, I felt like Mario Core kinda made sense. I've seen enough Mario themed islands because of that I felt it justified to include it here. Meadow Core is kinda like Cottage Core or Spring Core, as we will see later, but it's more themed around the Alps and, well, meadows, as the name says. Maybe it's because I'm German or live near meadow places and know how European meadows look, so I'm a bit biased towards Meadowcore. Again, a theme I don't really see that much about, like it's not a super prevalent theme like other ACNH themes, but I've still felt it pretty justified, which is medieval/fantasy. And it's basically, as the name says, just medieval castle builds, using the old-timey clothes, or going on a fantasy adventure in ACNH. Mermaid/underwater was also a very specific theme that I really enjoyed though. And it's basically just using the mermaid items and making everything look like you are actually not on an island, but you're diving underwater along the little fish. And I enjoy it. I think it's really, really pretty. It's very time consuming, I can imagine, if you do it the legit way, but it's very, very pretty, I think. Nautical/seaside. This is kinda what the previous tier list by Froggy Crossing alluded to with River Core, or what it was called. Basically, nautical/seaside islands are just, it's having a lot of sailors, it's having a lot of the more blue, less saturated colors. It's an island that's by the seaside, but instead of like an island that you would imagine to be like tropical, like Tropicore, it's more subsued, more suburban homes, etc. And that's what I meant with nautical seaside. Then of course we got Normcore, which is like if you were to play this game without much outside help. From what I understood, it's basically just you use mostly 1.0 items, you use the normal paths, you don't really use like custom paths, etc. You can of course still do it and it still counts as Normcore, I feel. But from what I understood, this is what Normcore is all about. Now at first you may say, oh, the Pastel Kitcore, as the name says, it's just Kitcore, but I feel like Pastel and Kitcore are different enough to be separated. Because Pastel Kitcore, I feel like it's a whole different vibe and a whole different thing on its own, because as the name says, it's more the pastel colors, and therefore it's also a bit more girly almost, I would say. But it's of course, I'm not saying that only girls do these kind of themes or islands. I'm sure there are tons of boys who are into it. Then we got Pirate Core, which is also a theme. It's rather rare, but there are enough items in the actual game to justify it being here, because I have seen pirate islands and pirate-themed islands, so I don't think it's fully like a theme that doesn't exist at all. This is a very special, interesting theme, and as you can see, I called it retro, by which I mean these are the islands that are made to resemble previous Animal Crossing games, like the original Animal Crossing, New Leaf, etc. I've always find these really, really creative and fascinating, and also a bit of nostalgia, because I actually grew up with all the Animal Crossing games, except the very, very first one. But, and so it's always really nice to see other Animal Crossing games also come to life in this new one. I don't know, there's just something very comforting and nostalgic about it. Another classic. At first, I considered having it as Pastel Kid Core or Kawaii Core, because you could argue that Sanrio Core are kinda more these two, but I feel like there are also whole Sanrio islands that are themed around Sanrio and specifically the furniture and everything. And so I thought, okay, no, we're gonna make it a separate. We're gonna make it a separate core. That just makes sense. Science/sci-fi. This is also a very specific one, like think of Petrie, the new mouse villager, and make a whole theme around that. That's basically it. Put the robot villagers in there, put the machinery in there, and just do a little sci-fi island. It's kind of like Space Core, but not fully. Speaking of Space Core, this is our next theme. Another staple of Animal Crossing, I feel. With all the moon and celeste items, you can go the whimsical route, you can go more the sci-fi route, you can go, I don't know, the Kid Core route, which I would wanna do, but I'm not really possible to do it at the moment. But I really enjoy Space Core, but to be fair, I enjoy space, I find it very pretty. We got, of course, another classic Spring Core, and just going through all the seasons. Spring Core is just, well, think of a nice spring town or a nice spring setting, like flowers everywhere, the nice baby pastel colors, lots of green, the animals are finally awake again and roaming about, and all that encompassed in an island theme. Steampunk. Okay, steampunk is kind of out there. I rarely see steampunk islands, but there are a lot of steampunk items in the game, and so I thought it was justified, but I want to include it just to give it justice, and a part of me feels like a lot of people do enjoy the idea of steampunk islands, but it's just a bit hard for them to imagine it and such. But again, I just think it should be included. Swarm Core. At first I actually didn't include Swarm Core because I wasn't sure how to portray Swamp Core in a little picture, but then I figured out some things I can use. It may look a little bit like Jungle Core more so, but it's supposed to be Swamp Core. Then we got another staple, which is Town Core. I personally enjoy Town Core. I don't live in a town, but it's very town adjacent, and I just find it so homey. Therefore, it's just nice to actually feel like you live in a town, like the original Animal Crossings, and are in a little community, and there's just something very, very comforting and homey and cozy about that for me. Trash core. This is a really new theme, I feel. I haven't seen a lot of it, but basically all the trash items. Everything is covered in trash and trash everywhere. It's kind of like the abandoned, overgrown islands, but not really. And yeah, Tropicore. I feel like Tropicore is a really fun theme that doesn't get a lot of love, mainly because a lot of people don't really like summer, and to be fair, I don't really like summer either. But I feel like Tropicore, you just get to pretend and have fun and be, I don't know how to say it, like you're on a vacation, you're on a resort, it's fun. It's, yeah, I don't know how to explain it. I do enjoy Tropicore though. Now, this is hard to read, I'm sorry. I tried to have all the different fonts be readable, and I checked it, I made them small on purpose, etc. And yet now I see it's even smaller and it's a bit hard to read, but it's Valentine's Core. It's just a bunch of hearts, okay? And Valentine's Core, it's also a theme that's pretty rare, but I have seen it where people just put like chocolates everywhere, hearts everywhere. They use the wedding items and so on. So again, I feel like it does count even if it's not as prevalent as a lot of the other themes, because I have seen it and I know they exist. I know a lot of, when you search for any holidays in Animal Crossing, you usually find either Toy Day, you find Halloween, or you find Valentine's Core. So it's not like it's completely out of left field. So this is one I call Vaporwave / Cyberpunk. It's, you know, the Vaporwave colors. It's lots of lights and it's usually in the dark. Lot of neon villagers, neon-styled villagers. It's not super prevalent, but I have seen enough. And I think it's a really, really cool setting for an Animal Crossing island because it's so different from what you'd think of Animal Crossing, and I think it's really, really cool. Western Core. Western Core seems like another island theme that's kind of out of left field, but I think it's still prevalent enough. I've seen enough codes, I've seen enough builds, I've seen enough islands to justify Western Core. And to be honest, I feel like even in the game itself, there's more than enough to work with. And the last season theme, I know there's the summer theme, but I feel like Tropicore is basically summer core, whatever you want to call it, which is winter core. At first, I didn't think of including it, but then I realized a lot of Christmas core doesn't necessarily have to be Christmas core. I often just see islands that are just in winter with winter custom designs and so on. And yeah, sure, there is a lot of Christmas or Toy Day stuff around it, but it's mainly really focused on it being winter and snowy and fun and hot chocolate, ice skating, snow angels, the sleigh. Really, really pretty. And the last one, the final, is Witch Core, which again I feel is another theme that's underrepresented despite how often I see it. And maybe I'm a bit biased because I'm really into magic and witchy stuff and I really like the colors. So I was a bit disappointed to not see it as often, so I included it because I feel like it's a lot more of a staple than people give it credit for in ACNH. And yeah, if you enjoyed this tier list, let me know with a like or a nice comment and maybe try it out if it sounded fun or interesting to you. The project is by me, of course, but also extra credit to Nukapedia for providing me with the items for the little pictures used, as well as Clip Studio Paint users for giving me many backgrounds to use. And also credits to 1001 free fonts with providing me with the many different fonts I used. I hope to see you next time on board, fellow sailors. Bye bye!